King Charles just dropped a constitutional bombshell on Sadiq Khan. The mayor's entire political world is collapsing right now. Palace insiders are calling this nuclear. We've got exclusive details on what happened behind closed doors. The leaked documents will shock you. What we uncovered about Khan's secret strategy changes everything. Don't click away, because what comes next will blow your mind. Let me break down exactly what went down yesterday, 9:47 a.m. That's when King Charles made a move nobody saw coming. His private secretary walked into City Hall carrying a letter that would detonate British politics. This wasn't some polite royal note. This was a direct challenge. The King's words hit hard. London's current leadership contradicts the security and well-being of British citizens. No sugarcoating, no diplomatic doublespeak, just brutal honesty from the throne. Most politicians would read that and think twice. Not Sadiq Khan. The mayor decided to go to war. 2:15 p.m. Khan stood outside City Hall facing dozens of cameras. You could see the anger in his face. His jaw was clenched. His face was flushed red. Then he said something that made jaws drop across Westminster. Nobody, and I mean nobody, tells the democratically elected mayor of London how to run this city. Not unelected advisors, not aristocrats clinging to medieval privileges, and certainly not the monarchy. Stop right there. Think about what just happened. A sitting London mayor just publicly told the King of England to back off. This isn't normal British politics. This is a full-scale constitutional meltdown. The palace reaction came fast. Sources inside Buckingham Palace described controlled fury spreading through the halls. Senior courtiers scrambled into emergency meetings. The word coming out was clear. The King's response would be devastating. This stopped being a political spat. This became a battle over who actually runs London. Now here's what they're not telling you on mainstream news. This fight is really about royal ceremonial routes through London. We're talking about historic paths used since 1215. Over 800 years of tradition, Khan's team wanted to reroute the Lord Mayor's show away from these traditional pathways. The official excuse? Traffic management. But palace historians saw right through it. This wasn't about traffic. This was about erasing the monarchy's visible presence from London, systematically removing royal symbols from the capital. The King's letter laid out 3 smoking gun incidents from the past 8 months. First, Khan blocked Trooping the Colour rehearsal routes. Second, his office denied street closures for a Commonwealth event. Third, and this is the big one, internal documents suggested scaling back royal processions to reflect modern democratic values. That phrase showed up in a leaked City Hall memo that the Times got their hands on. When palace officials read those words, sources say the reaction was instant shock. Then cold fury set in. Reports claim King Charles grabbed a red pen, circled that phrase, and scribbled in the margin, "This stops now." But here's what really exposes Khan's priorities. While all this political drama played out, real British heroes are suffering. Margaret Winters, 72 years old, former army nurse, served in Northern Ireland during the Troubles, treated wounded soldiers under enemy fire. Now she's waiting 8 months for a hip replacement. 8 months of crippling pain, can barely walk up her own stairs. Meanwhile, check this out. Khan's administration dropped £2.3 million on diversity consultants last year. Let that sink in. Millions for bureaucrats creating reports nobody reads, while veterans who bled for Britain wait in agony for basic healthcare. Colonel James Patterson, a retired military officer, broke down during a news interview. He said, "We bled for Britain, and now we're treated like second-class citizens, while the mayor priorities everything except the people who actually built this country." That clip has exploded online. 1.8 million views in under 24 hours. People are furious. And it's not just veterans getting crushed. Pensioners are being squeezed dry. Dorothy Henderson, 81-year-old widow from Barking. She went on radio and broke down crying. She's skipping meals now to pay heating bills. This woman ran a corner shop with her husband for 40 years, served her community, never asked for handouts. Now she's rationing food. While Dorothy starves, Khan's office approves 6-figure salaries for deputy mayors with fancy titles like Chief Community Engagement Officer. The optics are absolutely brutal. Working-class Londoners who built this city are being abandoned while City Hall operates like a luxury corporate office. The contrast couldn't be starker. Then King Charles did something absolutely unprecedented. Wednesday, Privy Council meeting at Buckingham Palace. The king broke 70 years of royal protocol with one devastating move. Constitutional experts are calling this the biggest power play since the 1936 abdication crisis. Charles looked straight at the assembled officials and declared, "London belongs to all Britons, not to the political agendas of one man." The subtext was crystal clear. This was a direct shot at Sadiq Khan. No ambiguity, no wiggle room. Palace sources confirm Charles wrote this rebuke himself. He rejected softer language his advisors proposed. A senior courtier leaked to the Telegraph, "His Majesty has had enough. The patience has run out." But the king didn't just make a statement. He activated something way more powerful. Rarely used constitutional mechanisms that give the crown oversight over London governance. We're talking about powers from the Magna Carta, 1215, over 800 years old. Legal experts are still analyzing what this means. But here's what we know. Charles essentially put Khan's office under royal supervision. Every major policy decision affecting London's historic character now gets reviewed by palace-appointed constitutional advisors. Khan still has his job, but his power just got slashed dramatically. And here's the genius move. Charles didn't violate democracy. He used existing legal frameworks that have been sitting dormant for generations. The king beat Khan at his own game, using the exact traditions Khan tried to tear down. Constitutional checkmate. This sets a precedent that could reshape mayoral powers across Britain for decades. The implications go way beyond this single confrontation. Every local official in the country is watching this unfold. The fallout hit like a tsunami. Within 90 minutes, the pound jumped 0.4% against the dollar. Financial markets read royal intervention as a stability signal. Money talks, and money just endorsed the king. Conservative MPs smelled blood in the water. They launched coordinated attacks across every platform. Suella Braverman, former Home Secretary, went straight for the jugular. The king has done what Parliament should have done years ago, stood up for ordinary Londoners. Inside Labour headquarters, panic set in. Moderate Labour MPs started backing away from Khan fast. Carefully worded statements flooded out trying to create distance from the constitutional mess. Social media exploded. Defend the King trended globally for 6 straight hours. #1 in the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. Over 340,000 tweets in 4 hours. This wasn't manufactured. This was organic public fury. Then the polls dropped. YouGov numbers are absolutely devastating for Khan. 68% of Londoners think he overstepped. But here's the killer stat. 52% of previous Labour voters are reconsidering their support. Think about that. Khan just drove away half of his own voter base. Street protests erupted within 24 hours. Crowds swarmed City Hall, waving Union Jacks, chanting for Khan to resign. These images are broadcasting worldwide. Politically toxic doesn't begin to describe it. The Commonwealth responded immediately. Justin Trudeau in Canada praised the monarchy's stabilizing role. Australian leaders from both parties backed King Charles. Even New Zealand, where Republican sentiment is growing, showed 61% approval for the King's actions. The message from across the Commonwealth is unanimous. Challenging the crown is political death. American networks picked up the story. CNN and Fox News ran segments analyzing the clash. A Georgetown professor summed it up perfectly, asking, why would any politician pick a fight with an institution that has survived for over 1,000 years? Britain's global reputation for constitutional stability just took a hit. Foreign policy experts are saying Khan's reckless move created perception problems that'll take years to fix the UK's image as a model of balanced governance between tradition and progress has been damaged in international circles. Behind the scenes at City Hall, it's complete chaos. Sources describe ministers arguing in hallways. Khan's deputy mayors split into warring camps, some demanding immediate apology, others pushing to fight harder. A WhatsApp leak shows Deputy Mayor for Transport Seb Dance in full panic mode. This is electoral suicide. We need damage control now, or we're finished. Khan himself looks shattered. During a transport announcement, witnesses say he stumbled through prepared remarks, refused all questions about the royal intervention. Insiders report he's barely sleeping, running on caffeine, crisis meetings stretching past midnight every night. One source described him looking like a man watching his legacy burn in real time. WhatsApp groups called Damage Limitation and Crisis Response Team are buzzing with desperate messages. Khan's inner circle knows they've lost control of the narrative. Political analysts watching this unfold say Khan has no good options left. Apologize, looks weak, and betrays his progressive base. Double down, alienates moderate voters, and deepens the constitutional crisis further. He's trapped. Every move makes things worse. Now this is where it gets absolutely explosive. Leaked documents just revealed something huge. Multiple newspapers got their hands on internal City Hall memos from 3 weeks ago. These documents show Khan's office got explicit warnings from senior civil servants. They were told confronting royal powers would trigger constitutional mechanisms. Read that again. Khan knew exactly what would happen. This wasn't a spontaneous fight. This was calculated, deliberate, political theater designed to manufacture a crisis. Professor David Hughes, constitutional lawyer, told the BBC, if the mayor received explicit warnings about constitutional boundaries and proceeded anyway, he's not defending democracy. He's abusing it for political purposes. But wait, there's more. Another leaked memo from Khan's chief of staff, dated October 23rd, lays out the whole strategy. It talks about leveraging progressive sentiment against traditional institutions to position Khan for national Labour leadership before the next general election. The memo explicitly mentions creating clear ideological separation from conservative monarchy-supporting positions. Translation: Khan's team planned to use the king as a punching bag. They saw the monarchy as an easy target to attack and rally progressive voters. They thought Charles was a weak, outdated symbol they could exploit for political gain. They catastrophically miscalculated British public sentiment. They forgot that Britons might grumble about the royals, but we close ranks hard when outsiders attack our institutions. Khan's team treated this like American politics, where everything's fair game. But this isn't America. This is Britain. We don't elect our monarchs. The crown sits above politics, always has, always will. The leaked documents expose this as manufactured political theater that backfired spectacularly. Khan gambled his career on a crisis he thought he could win. Instead, he awakened forces he couldn't control. While Khan burns, Rishi Sunak is capitalizing hard. Sunak appeared at a packed town hall in Kingston upon Thames, confidence radiating off him. He knows momentum just shifted massively in his favor. His statement brought the crowd to its feet. While others attack our institutions and disrespect our constitutional monarchy, we stand for stability, tradition, and the values that made Britain great. No personal attacks, no name-calling, just steady leadership contrasted against chaos. Textbook political strategy. The polling tells the whole story. Conservatives surged to 38% nationwide, highest number in 18 months. Labour collapsed to 31%, bleeding support across every demographic. In London specifically, Khan's approval cratered from 47% to 34% in 5 days. Fastest mayoral collapse in recorded polling history. Here's the earthquake. For the first time since Khan won in 2016, Conservatives lead Greater London voting intentions, 36% to 33%. This could completely redraw London's political map. Conservative strategists are already mapping vulnerable Labour seats that could flip. They're calculating scenarios where they reclaim London mayoral control for the first time in nearly a decade. What seemed impossible 2 weeks ago now looks achievable. The next 72 hours will determine everything. Khan faces a potential no-confidence vote within his own party. Senior Labour figures are privately discussing forcing him out Before he drags down the entire organization, National Labour leadership views him as an electoral poison pill threatening their chances in the next general election. King Charles must decide his next move: press the advantage or pull back to traditional neutrality. Further action risks looking political, but silence might signal weakness. Parliament returns Monday. Conservative MPs are preparing emergency debates on mayoral powers and constitutional oversight. Britain is witnessing the most serious clash between Crown and elected officials since the 1970s, unfolding in real time. Legal scholars are examining whether Khan could face formal removal through ancient constitutional provisions. These laws give Parliament and Crown joint authority to remove local officials who violate constitutional norms. Researchers are digging through archives from the 1600s and 1700s to determine what enforcement powers still exist. The fact these conversations are happening shows how badly Khan miscalculated. He thought he was fighting a ceremonial figurehead. Instead, he activated constitutional mechanisms with real teeth. This crisis will be studied for decades. A cautionary tale about the limits of elected power within Britain's constitutional framework. Future politicians will remember what happened when one mayor forgot certain institutions remain untouchable in British governance. So did Khan just commit career suicide? Did Charles prove the Crown still has power? Will this crisis strengthen the monarchy by showing it still matters? Early signs point to yes on all counts. Khan's political future looks grim. The monarchy demonstrated it's more than symbolic when constitutional norms are threatened. Public reaction shows British citizens value traditional institutions more than progressive politicians assumed. The implications stretch far beyond one embattled mayor. This reshapes how elected officials interact with constitutional monarchy for the next generation. Every politician in Britain just got a reminder that some fights you simply cannot win. Drop your thoughts below. Hit subscribe because tomorrow we're revealing the leaked WhatsApp messages showing Khan's inner circle plotting their next desperate moves. We'll break down whether any path to survival exists or if his career is finished. We've also got sources inside the palace giving us exclusive details on what King Charles is planning next. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. This constitutional war is far from over. The next chapter could change London forever. Stay tuned.